Our job is to report the news, not fabricate it. That's the government's job.
Well guys, it seems we have another Corbynista MP in trouble, and this time it's with the law. Reports are suggesting the Labour MP for Poplar and Limehouse in East London is on the hook for 3 offences relating to how she obtained her council flat, which I am sure has more than a few of you asking how someone on 80k a year plus 250 grand expenses lives in a council flat. But this is the UK and MPs we are talking about. Anything is possible. But surprise surprise, it seems there are questions about how she was given the flat itself, because she magically appeared at the front of an 18,000 strong waiting list within months, despite that usually taking a couple of years at least. This would suggest foul play to anyone with 2 working brain cells, so that takes out most of the Labour Party it seems. But if true, it would not surprise me in the slightest with these politicians, and this one in particular, because not only is she a Corbynista, but she also used to work for the corrupt mayor Lufter Rahman, who was booted out for rigging an election. And possibly extremely relevant to this story is the fact that that former mayor she worked for was accused of offering out housing to certain sections of the community in exchange for their vote. I actually find myself wondering if Tower Hamlets Council still has that housing for votes policy running, or is it just a housing for friends and family now? But the Sun has picked up on these fraud charges level against the Corbynista MP Afsana Begum, who, in case you are wondering, is no relation to the jihadi spunk trumpet Shamina Begum as far as I can tell, but obviously is a snivelling shitweasel without any doubt. The Sun article headlines: Home Scam, Labour MP and Jeremy Corbyn ally charged with housing fraud over council flat. A Labour MP and close Jeremy Corbyn ally has been charged with housing fraud. Afsana Begum, 30, entered Parliament at last December's general election with a giant 28,904 majority in East London's Poplar and Limehouse, but she has been accused of 3 offences relating to how she was given her council flat. She is due before magistrates on December 10th. If convicted, Miss Begum could face a jail sentence and lose her common seat, which actually wouldn't really matter because Labour would just walk straight back into it, as we all know. We told last November she was facing a probe over the riverside flat she moved into after leaving her estranged husband's home. Investigators want to know how she leapt to the top of an 18,000 strong housing list so quickly despite having no children, which for anyone who knows anything about it should be nearly impossible to do. As a matter of fact, it should be physically impossible. They always put kids and other things first. They certainly don't just put a 30-year-old woman at the top, that is for sure. At the time, Miss Begum denied any wrongdoing, claiming her housing situation was in a state of flux after her marriage broke down, and she insisted there was no probe, which was obviously a load of bollocks. Miss Begum said, "I was so grateful to be housed, which provided me with the lifeline I needed to live independently and safely." Yeah, the question was, who was you grateful to, and how well did you know them before they gave you that flat? That is what people really want to know, and I expect the police are gonna try and find out. It goes on, Labour also said our story was a disgrace, but charges have been brought against her in recent days, showing obviously something we already knew, that the Labour Party are a disgrace, much like the Tories at the moment. Miss Begum is thought to have applied for a Tower Hamlets council flat while living with her family in 2011. She moved in with her husband in 2014, but they split a year later. Within 6 months, she was offered the 1-bed Isle of Dogs pad in a block on the Thames, run by a housing association but with tenants nominated by the council. Oh, so she actually got that house in around 2014, which funnily enough is exactly when her former employer, the mayor, was actually done for being a corrupt cunt. So maybe that explains why she's been pulled in for this now. Perhaps that's exactly what she's been pulled in for. It could all be related to Lufter Rahman. Far left Momentum member Miss Begum was a controversial choice as Labour candidate. She was once an assistant to corrupt mayor Lufter Rahman, who was booted out for rigging an election. As I said, he was booted out in 2014 at the same time she apparently got this flat. She also shared claims ex-Labour PM Tony Blair was spreading Zionist propaganda. Well, she is a Corbynista, what the fuck do you really expect? Last night, lawyers for Miss Begum told The Sun Miss Begum vigorously contests these malicious and false allegations. Well, you can contest them all you like in the court of law because you have been charged with these offences. And the rest of it just says she didn't want to comment, and apparently Labour didn't comment either. At the end of the day, none of that really matters. I find it pretty fucking hilarious that she is up being getting done for this now, especially just after being elected as an MP, when, as I've already said, her former boss was actually done for fraud, trying to rig an election, apparently by offering people housing. Perhaps that's how she got it, or who knows what else might have happened for her to be given that house. I guess we can only speculate. Now, I do have to say, from my knowledge of local councils in London, which I expect is probably true for most of it, fraud and dirty tricks like this are going to be rife. The ones I've had personal experience with prove this to me beyond any doubt, and I expect it is actually extremely widespread. And let's be honest here, it's both sides of the political divide that are up to some fraudulent shit. Take a look at most of the things the government is doing at the moment and where all these contracts are going, without any tender or any scrutiny. In normal times, which we should be in, that would be considered fraud, and they should all be arrested, in my opinion.
There is a pattern consistent throughout history of oppressed people turning on the oppressors, slaves against their owners, the peasantry against the feudal barons, colonies, Mr. Verhofstadt, against their empires, and that is why Britain is leaving. And it doesn't matter which language you use, we are going, and we are glad to be going. We're off.